Hey friends, welcome back to Acre Homestead. We are at my mother-in-law's house today.
Hello.
And we are going to be doing some cooking for dinner tonight. We are making dinner for 3 birthdays.
Yes, so Joshua, her husband, my son, and Jacob, the other son, have the same birthday. And so we're celebrating their birthday, and then Lacey, who is Jacob's wife, who is expecting their first baby. A little history, so we're making Upper Peninsula pasties today. So both Joshua, Jacob, and their baby sister Sarah were born in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan. So they are Upers, and in the UP, they're famous for the pasties. And I want to shout out to Hannah, because Hannah was also born in Michigan, but she was born in the Lower Peninsula. But we're going to make pasties.
And my mom is from Michigan, and I grew up going to Michigan because all of my mom's family still lives in Michigan. And anytime we'd go, we'd have pasties. And Josh has asked me to make them before. I've never made them, and so we're going to do it today. It's going to be kind of fun. We're going to start with the crust because the crust has to cool for an hour and a half, and then we'll prep the inside part of the pasties. And I was supposed to bring flour, but I grabbed my whole wheat flour instead of my white flour. So
we'll do a blend.
We'll do a blend. I just put the water on to boil because we're going to be making a hot water crust today.
Let me get out my recipe too. I did print it, so it's much easier. And when I made this last week, I spilled food on it, so.
The signs of a good recipe.
And it's all written on. Okay, so what we're going to be doing is we're going to be taking, I honestly, before last week, I had never made anything with lard. And so this was an experience for me. So, but it tasted so good. It was super authentic and I loved it. Yeah, so honestly, I haven't made pasties in a really long time. And the last time I made them, I used shortening. And I did not do the hot water method. And it was really kind of, I don't know, it turned out okay. But after making them with lard, I am going to be doing this all the time. But I've never cooked with lard. But this is, I mean, it's kind of weird if you're not used to it. But boy, did it make a super flaky crust. Because I need 2 cups. This is a third. I need 6 blops. 6 blops of lard, so which I'm putting in the pan. This is the last of them, and this is great too because if you're talking, which I'm always talking,
you can remember.
You can count the blops, and you're okay. So there we go. So there is 2 cups, and I'm going to be using this to clean out my measuring cup too.
Oh, smart.
So I need 2 cups lard, 2 cups of hot water. This is 2. Do a little like that. 3. I have to do it like this. This is 6.
Perfect.
All right. While the water is hot, we're going to kind of break this up. I'm using my little spatula thing to kind of, because I want to melt the lard.
This feels like we're on the Great British Bake Off because the only time I've ever seen...
I'm going to use my whisk. Go ahead.
Because the only time I've ever seen hot water crust ever made is on the Great British Bake Off, and so it's kind of fun that we're experimenting.
I don't know if this is working or not, but I'm always willing to try. And plus it's fun to get every utensil dirty in the kitchen.
Is it still warm? Oh yeah,
it's still really warm. Yeah,
definitely warm.
And it will. So maybe while I'm doing this, do you want to measure up flour?
Yeah.
Yes, I like to get lots of utensils dirty.
So while Renee is working on that, I'm going to start measuring out the flour.
Yeah, by the way, it didn't work really well to use the meat masher.
So we need, you said 6 cups of flour?
Do 5.
5? Okay.
If we want 5, it says 5.5 to 6, but I want to start with, I want to start with 5 and then we can add more. And we'll also be adding some when we roll these out. Yeah, so I'm just using the whisk to break down all the chunks because we want this to be completely melted before we add in the flour. So, which is a little bit different than if you were making like a crust with butter because you want the chunks of butter. It makes a really durable crust, so it's really stretchy and it's really soft and beautiful to work with actually. So that looks good. And we need 2 teaspoons of salt.
So we're going to do 4 cups of white flour and 2 cups of whole wheat flour.
And the little handle broke off. That's why my thumb is sticking in there. I do have better cups.
That's okay. We're going to have our hands all in it. They're clean.
Yes, they're very clean. All right, so that's 5 cups. Actually, I'm going to mix these together.
So that's all the ingredients is lard, water, salt, and flour?
Yep.
Oh, easy.
Yeah, this is one of those things where the ingredients are really simple, but this is definitely slow food. You don't do this on a busy weeknight. This is something you do when you want to take your time because it takes about 3 hours from start to finish to do this whole thing between setup and cleanup. So make sure you do this on night when you're not like so busy running to soccer and things like that. So this is definitely a good Sunday dinner
Meal.
yeah.
Renee is going to show you though how to have this so you can have it on a soccer night, but we'll get into that in a little bit.
More to come on that. Instead of taking the wet to the dry, we're going to do the dry to the wet.
Okay.
So I'm just going to add it in a little bit at a time. I'll see if I can do a little bit at a time. And again, this is 5 cups. The recipe calls for 5.5 to 6, but I wanted to start with this and then we'll add in
More as needed.
So I'm just going to take my whisk, fold it in until a soft dough forms. And I'll show you what that means. So maybe Becky, if you want to get a cup of
Extra flour?
yeah, right now it just looks like it looks like paste.
Where did you say the extra white flour was?
Oh, it's in this canister on the counter,
Oh, okay.
in the big one.
Okay.
And I'm gonna add.
Because we'll need a little to roll out too. Probably.
Yeah, and I'm just gonna dump the rest of that in, and then we're gonna see how this works out. And we may have you add at least maybe a half a cup at a time or so. As I was doing this, I realized I have a Danish dough whisk, and that's exactly what this is for, and it's so handy, and I used it last time too. So
we'll start with, I have a half cup here. And we can...
yeah, let me get this mixed up first, but you can see how it really works really well, bringing that in.
Yeah, Danish dough whisk definitely looks like it would be easier than a regular.
Oh, yeah. I'm like, I have so many tools. I'll just show you my tool wall, but yeah, I have all these tools, and then sometimes I forget to use them. Yeah, that's coming together. You need a strong arm.
It's interesting how it like pulls away from the sides.
Yeah. So you can see how it's super stretchy. This is not a delicate dough. I'm gonna start with that.
So you're gonna add just a half cup at a time to see until
Yeah,
it gets the consistency you want.
Yeah, this might be good. It's kind of sticky, so I want it to be stretchy. This is done, and I ended up with 5.5 cups.
So you really want it that wet?
Yeah. So,
oh wow.
So now it's going to go in the fridge for an hour and a half to rest. So I'm going to cover it with a towel.
That definitely is a lot easier than your traditional pie pastry.
Look how it's sticky and
very sticky.
But it'll be easier to work with once it chills. So I'm just going to cover this and pop it in the fridge. I even cleaned out the refrigerator to make sure I had room. So my recipe calls for the veggies in weight, the potatoes and the rutabagas. So what we're going to do today is I did weigh out 3 pounds of potatoes. You can use, I like russet potatoes, but you can use red potatoes, any types of potatoes. So it's going to be 3 pounds of that, and then 1.5 pounds of rutabagas. And it said small rutabagas at the store. I don't know, we'll just chop them up. And so we're going to make, that will be 1.5 pounds. And then I added in carrots, and I figured 2 cups of carrots, and then 2 medium onions, which is about this size. So what we'll do is when we're done, because some of you don't, I have a food scale, but if you don't, we'll also give this to you in cups, so that you know how many cups of potatoes and carrots and rutabagas. And then we're just going to add a little bit of garlic powder, salt, and pepper. For the meat, we have ground beef. We're going to do 2 pounds of ground beef, and then we have 1/2 pound of sweet Italian sausage. So I really like the fat content, and we'll show you how we're going to put those all together in just a bit. It's like, which combination is going to be the best combination? Oh, that's a big one. Is that 1.5 pounds by itself? That's almost 1.5 pounds by itself. But I do feel like I sacrifice some. Where did my peeler go?
I don't know.
Did I take it out already? Yeah, there it is. There we go. So this is the tedious part, and so the peeling goes by pretty quickly, but we do have an hour and a half for the crust to rest. So they need to be in 1/4 inch, 8-inch cubes. Now these are probably maybe even 1/2 inch. So what I might do is once I get it this size, I might come back and just chop it up again.
So you want them pretty small?
Pretty small, but you don't want to do it in a food processor because that would just mash them all. That way you get the flavor in every bite. So about like that. Pretty small.
Okay, I'm gonna cut the carrots.
All right. Yeah, everything looks really good. Quality control.
Quality control. She's checking my work.
Checking our work. So one of the things, yeah, those onions are really strong.
Yeah, they are.
Wow. Yeah, so once we get all the veggies chopped up, we're going to add in the meat, and we're going to be like massaging the meat throughout this. So we're going to be really breaking things up.
Oh, so the onions and everything.
So we can break those up too.
Okay.
So good job, Becky.
Thank you.
Good tear duct cleanse. Eh? All right, so now what we're gonna do is we've chopped up all of our veggies, and see how nice and even they are? That's gonna help it really, they're really gonna cook and be really tender. It's gonna be great. So having them, you can have them, I've had pasties where they've been big, but to me they were just too much. So I'm gonna just take my hands and I'm just gonna get in there and mix them all up and then kind of break up the onions. And this is a very earthy smell. We've got those rutabagas, which are really strong smelling. And of course those onions, which made us cry. So we're just gonna mix these all up. And then I'm going to...
It smells good though.
It does smell good.
This almost looks like it's gonna fill more than 12, but do they get really big?
So we're gonna put about 1.5 to 2 cups in each pasty.
Oh wow, okay.
So you'll see when we start filling these, you're gonna be like, oh my gosh, that's not gonna work. But it works, especially with this crust because it's stretchy. All right, so that's mixed up pretty well. Now I'm gonna add, my hands are sticky. I'm gonna add in my seasonings.
There you go.
Oh, thank you. Boy, it's nice having extra hands in the kitchen. Usually I'm doing this for myself. So the recipe calls for, what does it say, 3 teaspoons of salt. I found it kind of needed some more, but what I'm going to do is I'm just going to do, I'll probably do 2 teaspoons here, and then I'm going to mix it. Okay, so I'm going to add some pepper. I like lots of pepper. There's that, and then garlic powder. I like it very garlicky.
Me too.
So I'm just going to do a good dousing. And again, I'm going to mix this up and then I'm going to do that again. Boy, between the pepper, let's kind of fluff this. Some of those are real peppery, so let's make sure we get that distributed. Yeah, the test batch that I made last week, Jacob reported, because I gave 3 of them to Jacob and Lacey. Jacob timed it really well that he showed up at our house to borrow some tools at the same time I was making pasties. So he took 3 home, and he and Lacey did a test run. He said it could have used a little bit more salt. So I'm adding to his, because of his advice, I'm going to add a little bit more salt. Oh, let me use that towel since it's right here. I think I'm just going to do that. I like pepper. I know Becky does too. And then a good, that's good. And pepper's gonna make me sneeze. So you can see how it's really well distributed now. There's like a piece of pepper on every potato.
It smells so good.
It does smell really good with all that garlic. Okay, so now we're ready to add in the meat. And in my recipe it calls for 1/2 pound of ground pork, but I'm actually using sweet Italian sausage, which worked out really, really well. And so this is from Butcher Box, and I really have found their quality to be excellent. I'm looking forward to my order coming this week, which is why I need to give you guys the pasties, because I need to make room for all that for all that meat coming this week. So anyway, so I'm going to go ahead and crumble these up into a bowl, and then I'm going to add them into
So last time Renee made this, she made it with flank steak. And so this is the first time you're making it with ground beef?
Yeah, when I made it years and years ago, I used ground beef.
Oh, you did? Okay.
But traditionally, you can use steak, and it turns out really, really good. But it's more expensive. And this is kind of nice because it does incorporate more fat.
If you're interested in the butcher box, Renee's been super happy with it. And you got the fish too, didn't you?
I did. The salmon was wonderful.
Really good?
Yeah, very good.
If you sign up through my link, then you get 2 pounds of free ground beef in every single box in the life of your membership. So it's pretty cool. Renee got into canning.
Oh my gosh.
And I told her, you got to be careful with canning because it is addicting, right?
I got into canning is kind of an understatement.
Yeah, she's an avid canner.
Oh my gosh. So Lisa at Sutton's Days did Canuary, and so watching one video a day totally inspired me. So I am totally hooked, and I've just been canning all the time. So yeah, when my butcher box order comes this week, I'm going to be doing pressure can. I got extra chicken.
And you're going to do.
So I'm going to pressure can just chicken.
That is super exciting. So she got an electric pressure canner, which got me excited about electric pressure canner. I had been planning or thinking about it since last summer to get an electric pressure canner. She went ahead and texted me and said she bought an electric pressure canner, so then I had to get an electric pressure canner, and I've used it twice in 3 days, and it's amazing because you can turn it on and walk away.
So I've really, really enjoyed it. It's been super great because I can start something in the morning, walk away, and then at lunchtime switch it over because I do work full time. So having that during the day is great. So now you can see how we've incorporated all of that meat into the vegetables. So you want to make sure we don't have large chunks. We want to make sure that each vegetable is kind of surrounded and that it's just well incorporated.
We have the meat in the fridge, the pastry in the fridge, and we have another 38 minutes before we can even begin to roll out the pastry. So Renee is prepping the pan. She's just putting some parchment paper out. We also got out the stuff to roll the pastry. But Renee wants to talk to you about how you can prep these and have them in your freezer to make... Oh, she got a carrot in her mouth. So Renee has some that she pre-cooked last week when she was doing the test batch, and she wants to talk about how you can make a bunch of them ahead of time because it doesn't take that much more time other than chopping time.
Yeah.
And then you can eat them whenever you want.
So this recipe that we're doing today makes 12, and so that's a lot. So what I did last week is I made them and then I froze them. So I did freeze these first, and then I did the vacuum seal. Don't vacuum seal them until they're frozen because they will smash down. But then now to reheat these, I'm going to take these out for about 30 minutes to get them thawed a little bit, and then I'll put them in a 350 oven for about 20-25 minutes. So super easy. And I did want to mention too, we use beef and sausage, but you could use chicken for this. And if you wanted to go vegetarian, think about anything you might put into a pot pie except for the sauce. You could do chickpeas, make a curry, so that could be really good too. Maybe we should try that sometime.
That sounds really good.
With chickpea and carrots, maybe some sweet potatoes, and then just a curry. So really you can make this into anything. And one of the things I heard, we did not do this today, but I thought it'd be really fun, is that, so this is a Cornish miners meat pie. And so what they would do is they would put meat and potatoes up to a certain point, but then they put fruit on the end. So you eat your lunch, and then you have dessert. So that's another fun way. You can put some cherry or apple pie filling in the corner and have your dessert. So we put together a care package for Lacey and Jacob so they don't have to think about any food for the first couple of weeks. And I know Becky's making some freezer meals, so they'll be set that way. But I thought I would make some shelf-stable meals. And since I'm addicted to pressure canning, it gave me an excuse. So what we have here is we have chicken soup, which is just a soup base. And they can make that into chicken pot pies, chicken on a biscuit, or chicken and dumplings. So I gave them that's 2 meals there. And then some Bisquick so that they can make the pot pies or the chicken on a biscuit or whatever. And then I made some beef stew, which is amazing, which doesn't look amazing when you look at it like that. But it's really, really good. And so they can have it as a stew. Or they can even make it as a stroganoff, add some sour cream, and put it over noodles. So this curried turkey and lentil soup is amazing. But it does need a boost of coconut milk. So they'll do about a half a can in each of these, and then serve that over rice as a curry dish.
That's brilliant.
And then this is really good too. This is 5-bean turkey chili, which is really, really good. And again, it can be thickened up a little bit if they want to. Of course, you can add thickeners when you're pressure canning, and they can serve that with cornbread muffins. So I've got 2 meals of that, and then I added in some potatoes in case they want to do the beef stew over mashed potatoes.
Oh, that's a good idea.
So there's some potatoes.
So there's some shelf-stable
Yeah, and then
meals.
I threw in some pasta, so in case they want to do the beef stew stroganoff. So there's that. And then they're going to get 2 frozen pasties. So total they'll have 9 meals.
So we have about 45 minutes before we get to start rolling out our pasties. So what we're gonna do is Renee has a balloon arch that we're gonna start building because it's a party.
Woo! And of course I have a balloon pump because I like having all the toys. And this is crazy how quickly it blows this up, and it's kind of startling. So and it does blow your hair back, so it gives the Beyonce effect. This is crazy. Just be ready. All of a sudden it just goes. See how crazy that is?
So do you push a button or you just put it over it?
No, I just put it over it.
It knows when something's over it?
Yeah, it just has a sensor.
Oh, wow.
So I don't know how big I want these to be. I kind of want some big and little.
This was a super fun project because Renee had also this balloon arch tape, and there were these little holes in this tape, and you just stuck the end of the balloon through the tape, and you could make this for any occasion, any color scheme, and it was a lot of fun, and it just kind of brightened up the birthday theme a little bit more. There we go. Happy birthday. We have a little happy birthday sign.
And my hair is also sticking straight out.
So now what we're going to do is take the pastry, because it is ready,
It is ready, yeah.
and
Move this.
we're going to weigh it, right?
We're gonna weigh it. So let me move this guy out of the way. Let me pull that out.
Renee is a lot more precise than I am. I would eyeball it. But that's the beauty of different personalities, is we can learn from each other.
But I'm also surprised, like, what, by eyeballing it, how close it can be, like how, you know, somewhat precise you are. Just gonna dump it out eventually. See how stretchy it is?
It definitely firmed up quite a bit.
Oh yeah. Get all that out there. Yeah, those homesteaders have strong arms, right? So I'm just going to work it and bring it together. But what's great about this, it's super pliable. It's like almost like a bread dough.
Yeah, it's
like you wouldn't
completely different texture than a pastry texture.
Like you're not trying to be all soft and dainty with it.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to plunk this on here. And this is 4 pounds, 5 ounces.
We weighed out our dough, and we have 69 ounces total, so we just divided that by 12, which is 5.75 ounces. So each one of these dough balls we are going to weigh out, and we're going to have 12 5.7 ounce balls, which will give us 12 equal size pasties.
There, close up.
Perfect.
5.7, okay.
There we go.
So this guy gets rolled up.
We have one ball. I really like the texture of this dough.
Do you want to do some too?
Sure.
Just don't cut my finger. That's good. So wee a little bit?
Oh, too much.
That's all right. Yeah, so this is a half cup. So we're going to do each one is going to have, and we're going to need the flour though.
Okay.
So we'll have to put this maybe right here in the middle. All right.
This is the fun part.
Oh, I need my apron on.
Uh-oh.
I'm already floury.
We are going to take each one of these dough balls and we are going to roll them out to 8 inches. Renee has a flat silicone mat that has the inches marked on it, and then the one I'm using is just a piece of parchment paper that has an 8-inch circle that we wrote on it.
This is a half a cup. I'm going to do a cup and a half, and these are kind of heaping like that, and you're going to put that on half of your
Pastry?
Guess what? The onion's still strong. Just like that. And it looks like a lot, right? Okay. I'm going to just put like just about a teaspoon of butter. So once I get this, let me smash this guy down a little bit. Kind of get some of these guys in here. And then I'm going to pull this. It's super stretchy. I'm just going to pull this and roll it, and I'm tucking it in just like this. See how nicely that goes like that? And then as I'm as I'm putting this over, I'm kind of tucking in the filling, right? And then I'm going to use the sides of my hands, and I'm just going to press down and kind of squeeze it a little bit to get some of the air out. See, I've got like this nice little pocket, and then we're going to roll up the crust like this. Now you can take a fork and you can smash it down if you want, but I find I like to have it like this. And some people don't like that really thick crust. I do. So, try to get it so you can see. So you kind of, I'm twisting it like that, and then I'm going to roll this up a little bit more like this and press it down just to make sure that that doesn't unroll like that. And then I'm going to take my knife and I'm going to cut some air holes. Just like that. And then we'll transfer this to our baking sheet.
It smells so good. It's so weird because it's like not even, like it's so simple ingredients, but
Yeah.
the smell is just so good.
Well, I think, and also adding that Italian sausage.
Oh yeah.
Just really, here's something for you. Just really makes a difference too.
Yeah, it seems like so much, but you're right. It just, this pastry is so pliable.
Yeah, that's what, when I made this, like, it's probably been, I'd say, 20 years or more.
Oh really?
Because it was just like,
Josh must have been just a baby.
maybe like, well,
20 years, he would be 10.
Yeah, he wasn't a baby.
Yeah.
like I think I made it when we were in Michigan, but I don't think I've made it. I think I've made it once since we've lived out here. But because I had this recipe that called for shortening, and I didn't have YouTube to show me how. We didn't have Great British Bake Off
To give you the oomph you needed to.
Yeah, and my mom wasn't a baker, and even my grandma, she was a modern woman, so she bought the frozen pie crusts.
Mm-hmm.
So I never even saw anybody making pie crusts.
Oh, okay.
So for me, it's like I didn't have an example of that. And so remember the first time I tried to make pie crusts, it was like crumbled. I'm like, what do I do now? Like,
Yeah.
I couldn't get it to stick. So I'm like, oh, Pet Ritz it is. So it wasn't easy the first time I made it, and I kind of gave up. So, but this crust makes me want to do this more often.
I feel like this could become a holiday tradition meal or something.
Yeah, or like for the
Birthdays.
boys' birthdays.
Yeah.
So in the UP, there are a lot of Cornish miners. And
Cornish? What's
so
that?
English. So
Oh.
it's from Cornwall, England.
Oh,
And so they immigrated and they worked in the copper mines.
okay. Oh, copper mines.
In the UP.
Okay.
And so
They could take these down to the mine with them?
Yeah. And they were sturdy enough to just be eaten without a fork and a knife.
Last one, and we used the perfect amount of filling per pasty. We got 12, and we used up all the filling.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. So now we just have to do the egg wash.
Awesome. Easy peasy.
Yeah.
While Renee finishes putting the egg wash on, I'm going to go ahead and get cleaned up. We really don't have that much to clean up. We kind of were cleaning as we were going. And we have about 45 minutes before we need to put those in the oven. So the kitchen is going to be fully cleaned before people start coming over. We're planning to eat at 6 o'clock. And these are going to take at least an hour to bake. And then we're going to want them to cool for probably about 20 minutes before we serve them. So we're planning to put them in the oven at 4:30. And that's going to give us plenty of time to sit down, probably have a glass of wine, relax, decompress, and just get ready for people to come on over. And I'm excited to see what these bake up like because they are looking pretty stunning at this point.
Yeah.
So we're trying something new. Renee got this at Costco, which I've seen them, and I just have never done the plunge because I've never bought them.
But this is equivalent to 4 bottles of wine.
So how cool is that?
Yeah, so I'm hoping I don't get this all over the counter. I think you just go like this. Oh, wow.
Wine on tap.
Oh, my gosh.
So this is a red blend Columbia Valley. So you have to give it a taste test and give us your honest review.
It's a local.
It's a local wine.
It's very, very bubbly. All right, here we go.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah,
That's really good.
it is.
That's an easy drinker.
And it'll go well with pasties.
So now we're gonna sit down, relax. We got the kitchen all clean, and we just get to hang out until people come.
Sounds good.
Renee's preheating the oven, but while we sit and relax, she found this book at Goodwill, and I'm really excited. It's from America's Test Kitchen, which you all know is my absolute favorite. And this is the best make-ahead recipes. So I think that I'm gonna try to do a freezer meal cooking day out of this book, and I'm gonna see kind of just if you want to know how to do things the right way when it comes to cooking, American Test Kitchen is the way to go. So what did it say? Okay, so appetizers. Oh, so even for party planning, make ahead recipes. Hot artichoke dip, all the dips. Relishes. Rustic caramelized onion tart. Baked stuffed mushrooms. Empanadas. Oh, that would be fun to do together too. Beef and cheese empanada filling.
So what's neat about this book is that it shows you how to double things, and then how you can freeze it, and then how to cook from frozen.
Oh, cool.
So there's some really cool tips in there too.
Yeah, we're gonna sit down and we're gonna look through this. And so if you're interested in this book, I can link it down in the description box. But you're definitely gonna see more from me with this book. It's 4:30 and we have the oven preheated to 350 degrees.
Okay, so we're gonna put these in for half an hour, and then we're gonna rotate them. By the way, these big baking sheets are the bomb. Okay, set the timer for 30 minutes.
And now we're gonna go sit back down. This is the kale salad from Costco. It's so good, family favorite.
Everybody loves it.
Yeah.
Everybody loves it.
And basically the rest of dinner is in the oven, and that's it.
That's it, and then except for the cake.
Well, yeah, we have a cake, which I haven't showed you yet. So Renee
Pretty glamorous.
Renee is famous for her bundt cakes. Every birthday, there's always a bundt. And she melts the frosting, and that's why it kind of becomes like a ganache on it. It's a yellow cake with chocolate frosting. So that's going to be dessert.
So just disclaimer, this is cake mix box cake mix. So there is no link in the description box below. This is legit like Betty Crocker yellow cake mix, Betty Crocker frosting, which I melt in the microwave and then I pour it over. So it looks like this beautiful ganache, but it is such a cheater cake. But that's all the kids have always ever had. I've never made birthday cakes from scratch. So to them, it's like this is a normal.
This is their birthday.
This is happy birthday.
Friends, look how beautiful these pasties turned out. I am so impressed with my first attempt at making them. I want to say a huge thank you for taking time out of your day to spend time with us. If you want this recipe, it is linked down in the description box below at scratchpantry.com. If you enjoyed this video, I'd greatly appreciate a thumbs up. If you're new, please consider subscribing. I have more videos with Renee and I where we hang out, we go thrifting together, and some more cooking videos I can pop up right here so you can enjoy between now and my next upload. I hope you guys are having a fantastic day, and I can't wait to see you next time. Bye, guys.